For our video project, we decided to visit the Movati North London Club for an anti-gravity yoga class. Anti-gravity yoga uses many of the basic concepts of yoga but has a new twist. It uses a hammock to support your weight when you transition from pose to pose. There are many variations of poses that you could find in typical yoga, but with modifications. There are times that one will be hanging upside down or doing a flip.
Yoga is an exercise that is practiced globally. Yoga is a Hindu spiritual and aesthetic discipline, which includes breathing control, simple meditation, and adoption of specific bodily posture, which is widely practiced for health and relaxation.
Here's a brief history on yoga. Yoga was developed in India about 5,000 years ago. It was created to show various beliefs, ideas, and techniques related to the Indian culture. The yoga practice is used to rejuvenate the body and prolong life. This exploration of physical, spiritual connections and body-centered practices led to the creation of what we think yoga is in the West. In traditional yoga that is practiced here in the West, we call it Hatha Yoga.
This brings us to the belief that yoga is a form of liminality. Victor Turner's article, Liminality and Communitatis, is the article that is going to be put into discussion with the practice of yoga.
The first aspect and idea that Turner mentions is rite of passage. Rites of passage allows for a change of place, state, social position, and age.
When comparing the idea of rites of passage to yoga, it's the idea of changing that we are going to focus on. Yoga is a change of state to connect both the body and the mind. By changing your state of mind from the busy world, by focusing on clearing one's own thoughts, and by listening to one's own breathing. The rites of passage have 3 stages.
The first stage is separation. Separation symbolizes behavior signifying the detachment of an individual or group from an earlier fixed point in the social structure from a set of cultural conditions. The separation phase in yoga can be found when the instructor asks you to clear your mind. You start to forget about the troubles of the outside world, especially while in the studio.
It can also be found when chanting Om. The statement Om, or has a syllable that represents each aspect of everyday life. The A stands for Ah, which causes the vibration in your chest and represents the creation. The U stands for U, which starts up the vibrations in your throat and represents preservation. And the M stands for which starts up the vibration within your mouth and represents liberation. By creating these vibrations within us at the start of each session, we are allowing ourselves to become in sync with the vibrations that surround us in the environment. By doing this, we are separating ourselves from the hustle and bustle of everyday life and allowing ourselves to become one with nature and the nature that surrounds us.
The second stage is the passenger. During this intervening liminal period, the characteristics of the ritual subject are ambiguous, passes through a cultural realm that has few or none attributes of the past or coming state.
The idea of not thinking on the past or coming states allows for the person practicing yoga to be in the moment, which allows for focusing on the pose that one is embodying to deepen the strength, the stretch, and to listen to one's own breathing.
While doing the actual practice of yoga, being in a pose, this current state in itself is one of liminality. You've realized that you started the path towards enlightenment, which you gain after finishing the yoga session, but you're not quite at the end. These in-between actions and poses are the middle stages of you reaching the enlightened ending.
The third stage is reaggregation or reincorporation. Reincorporation allows for the passage to be ended or consummated. The ritual subject, the individual, is once again in a stable state.
Once finished the practice of yoga, it gives the practicer a sense of feeling more relaxed and restored to take on the rest of the day. Once again, centered with both the mind and the body. It also allows us to become more integrated not only with our physical being, but our spiritual being as well.
Liminal entities are neither here nor there. They are betwixt and between the positions assigned and arrayed by law, custom, convention, and ceremony. Yoga is a form of meditation, which can be a ceremonial process. Many people use yoga to stay connected to their spirituality. It is a form of meditation which can be considered to be therapeutic, just like some find going to church being a ritual or a ceremonial process.
Their ambiguous and intermediate attributes are expressed by a rich variety of symbols. In the case of yoga, the poses are symbols in which the person is making with their physical body.
Liminality is considered to be a moment in and out of time. Yoga is a personal experience for every individual. During the practice, each person can be in the same environment but can be transitioning to a different state while practicing yoga. For example, taking into consideration of listening to one's own breath and watching someone's own body can mean something different for each and every person within that studio. There's also the status that someone could be a beginner and another person could be advanced, such as the yoga instructor. Each person with different experiences will feel differently while doing their yoga session.
Each and every person feels a different sensation as they complete the practice of yoga. Although this may be the case, the act of yoga itself is considered to be a liminal state. It is a bridge for someone to pass when they are feeling out of sync, and by the end of this session, one usually feels more in tune with those around them.